for game of the week for week 9 of the NFL. We got the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. Here we go.
Well, this is an interesting one because this is the time of the year when you really separate the contenders from the pretenders. And do I think Dallas is a pretender? No, I don't view them as like a fringe playoff team. They'll probably be the number one wild card team in the NFC and somebody that they'll probably go on the road to the 5th seed and beat them. So the 5th seed will probably be, New Orleans? I would take Dallas in that game against New Orleans. So it's not like that we're separating, contender from pretender, but I think we are separating the high-end playoff teams from the wild card level teams.
Yeah.
And especially with Philadelphia having the lead in the division at 7-1, you start getting 2, 2.5, 3 games up. That starts to become a little bit too difficult to overcome, especially in the last 7, 8 weeks of the year. So that's why this game is so pivotal. If Dallas wins this game, I don't want to say put themselves in the driver's seat, but they, in a sense, control their own destiny in terms of the division. So if they can win this game, that's huge for them. And again, Philly, you can distance yourself and really separate yourself, contender from somewhat pretender, if you win this game here. So let's start with Philadelphia. Keys to win. Offensively, I think you got to run the rock. Well, one, yes, to establish physicality, but everybody knows that, you want to run the ball, stay balanced, blah, 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 blah. The main reason, keep Jalen healthy. Have you seen him hobbling around the last, 4 or 5 weeks? He has not looked fully healthy. And if you want any semblance or any shot to win the NFC and win a couple playoff games, you have to have Jalen Hurts healthy. Marcus Mariota, he is a fine backup. He's not going to lead you to the Super Bowl. Jalen will. So you got to keep Jalen healthy, keep him upright, run the rock, only drop him back 25 times. Do not give him 1 or 2 design runs and a couple scrambles here and there. Make sure he stays healthy.
That is, I think, one of the biggest things. And then what does running the football do? It opens up the play action pass and being able to throw over the top. And that's the big thing. When you have targets like A.J. Brown and you have targets
Devontae Smith,
Dallas Goedert, you have so much speed.
Quez Watkins, yeah.
That offense is built to be two-dimensional. So don't limit yourself. Run the football early and don't make them just pin their ears back.
Yeah, I would agree.
If you get to a 4th and 1, don't rely on the push all the time.
Yeah.
How about that?
The Philly defense, you got to get turnovers. We know the secondary is not very good. So unless they're getting turnovers and stealing possessions, you can see what happened with Washington. 31 points to Washington. Are we freaking kidding, right? That defense isn't that good unless they get turnovers. You look at games they get turnovers and they win almost 75% of them. So if you can get to 3, especially we know Dak can throw some picks. If you get 2 picks and a fumble, this could turn into a 10, 12, 14-point game, which is what Philly wants to be. I would say it's critical on defense because they're not great at just flat out, throwing up goose eggs. You have to steal possessions, get turnovers.
I agree. That's true in any game, but especially
true in any game, especially when you don't have a great defense. It's good defense, not great.
Yeah.
Dallas offense, you have to exploit that secondary with CeeDee Lamb. CeeDee Lamb has to eat like he did this past week. He had 11 catches for 198 and 2 touchdowns or something like that this past week. It was wild. CeeDee has to have another huge game. He's got to go for at least 8 catches. He's got to go for at least 150, and he's got to have a touchdown if they want any chance. You have to exploit that secondary because you're not going to be able to run the ball that effectively against that front. If there's a strength on that team, it is the front 7. They might not be great on the back end. That, especially the front 4, can stop the run. They can get after the passer. You have to exploit that secondary. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks over the top, right? That's the way to beat them.
We talk about it all the time, getting the early window throws, right? You have to get the ball out quick. That's another thing that Dallas has to do. Yeah. You can't let that pass rush get to Dak because when Dak's under pressure, he makes stupid decisions with the football.
Yeah, another kind of secondary key to victory here for on offense. Getting Tony Pollard involved in the pass game, there is a mismatch in terms of linebackers. Philly lost, I think, 2 of their top 2 linebackers from last year. So if you can get Tony Pollard in space against these linebackers who are good, not special, then that would be a great way to exploit that as well.
I agree.
Dallas defense, you got to stop the run. If Philly's goal is to run the rock, you have to stop the run. If you can make them one-dimensional and Jalen's going to throw, you can get after him, get him on the ground a couple times. It's going to be cold. He starts peeling himself up from the turf, 4, 5, 6, 7 times in the first half. He's going to start to think about, I got to get this ball quicker, rush throws. Next thing you know, you can basically count on that first window throw. Now you can start jumping routes, but we know they have a secondary that's aggressive with Deron Bland, who has 3 touchdowns as a DB this year, right?
Yeah.
So If you can stop the run, what that sets up is Philly having to throw more. You can rush the passer more, which means you get after Jalen Hurts more, which means they get the ball out early, which means first window throws are there, which means you could start jumping routes. It's a big domino effect. You stop the run, domino, 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 aggressive, first window throws, pick sixes.
Do you think Dallas has the personnel and the guys to stop that run, though? I mean, because
I do, though. They rotate like 7 or 8 guys in on that front four. Like they will have fresh bodies. Now, talent-wise, they're fine. They don't have any like special standout, Jordan Davis, the other guy from Georgia that just went like top, Carter.
Yeah,
Jalen Carter. Thank you. Joe, they don't have any of those guys, but they got some good guys up front. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
it's going to be interesting.
I'm going to take Philly by 4.
I'm taking Philly by 3. I'm going to go 30-27.
I'm going to go 23-19.
All right. I always go a little higher scoring than you do.
Yeah, you do. Well, I guess it's not prime time. It's 4 o'clock, but I feel like in this game, unders, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
23-19.
It's going to be good, especially in a divisional matchup like this.
Love divisional matchups.
When both teams are really good, I'd say they're the top 3 in the NFC.
Somewhere around there.
So it should be very interesting. Good Week 9 matchup there.